Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business B.E.A.R podcast. I hope you're ready for an exciting new episode as we profile another local business right here in the community. We're going to be talking all about a fun guy. That's right, we've got Cory Heyman in here from Mighty Yough Farms to tell us all about what he has happening right here in McHenry. For those of you just joining us for the first time, the Business B.E.A.R podcast is all about you. That's right, Garrett County and everything happening in our business community. Whether it's profiling local businesses, bringing in officials, or meeting our economic development movers and shakers, we cover it all right here so that you can know everything about it. If you have a business out there and you'd like to be on the show, give me a call sometime at 301-334-7281 or email me at cnorman@garrettcountymd.gov. That's 301-334-7281 or email me at cnorman@garrettcountymd.gov. Remember, any opinions expressed by the host or their guests do not reflect that of Garrett County government or Garrett County business development. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's hear all about a growing business right here in our community. Welcome, Mr. Cory Heyman. Cory, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Connor. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I'm ecstatic that you're here. We're going to be talking all about Mighty Yough Farms today and a quite unique product that you've got growing right here in our community. I call it a growing business because it's all about growing awesome products. We're going to be talking about mushrooms and even more today. So tell the people a little bit about yourself. Let's learn the man behind the business.
The man behind the business. Connor, I have been working in government, in nonprofits, and in business for the past 30 years. Home is in Montgomery County, Maryland, but I spend 75 to 80% of my time here in Garrett County.
Wow.
I've been coming up to the area since about 2008. My family and I had a second home in Garrett County in Oakland from 2010 to 2016. It was a short-term rental property. We didn't love that, but in the end, continued coming up to the county and stayed at the state park and finally had another second home that we purchased a few years ago outside of McHenry. And so we are really excited to come up here about 4 seasons. I'm a kayaker, and so the name of my farm is Mighty Yough in honor of the Youghiogheny River. We're about 3 miles from the Upper Yough Put-in, where I'd love to spend as much time as possible. I love to be out in the county hiking and taking advantage of all that this amazing area offers.
I think you had a great thing to say there. You know, the Yough is a fantastic resource we have in the community. You've named a business after it. It's so much fun. I can see you're a man that's down in Friendsville a lot, going down there and enjoying what they have, and of course jumping on to enjoy the water. So that's so awesome, Cory, and of course welcome to our community. So speaking of the business, let's break down what Mighty Yough Farms is. What do you got going on over there?
Mighty Yough Farms is a very new business. We just started selling a week ago at the Mountain Fresh Farmers Market for our first session. And we look forward to participating in markets this summer, hoping to be back at the Mountain Fresh Market as well as the Deep Creek Market and ideally in Morgantown and the Allegheny markets. I work directly with restaurants. We produce fresh mushrooms and mushroom-related products. So we develop powders and tinctures and capsules, everything mushroom-related, as well as some other treats too. We are baking baked goods. We have cookies that are gluten-free. We have vegan cookies, things that are just a little bit outside of the norm and that are special.
Yeah.
We have spice mixes, and we also have a freeze dryer to make our mushroom tinctures and have been playing with that a bit and therefore have freeze-dried candy that we're selling as well, at least initially. So this venture is very, very new, but initially that's what we're doing.
This is a special time too, because I think with most of my interviews, not many people bring in props, but as you're talking here, I've got the aroma of these fresh mushrooms coming in. Oh, I can smell it. It's fantastic. I've got it right here. You'll probably be able to smell it as you're listening, but no, this is fantastic. How cool it is to know that we've got fresh mushrooms being grown in our community. So when you're thinking about the process of moving into this field, why mushrooms? Tell us a little bit about that.
Mushrooms are amazing creatures, as some people know, other people don't, that they're neither plant nor animal. They are part of the third kingdom of the fungi kingdom, and so they aren't quite the same as either plants or animals. They breathe oxygen like we do, and they emit CO2, But mushrooms are incredible. There are probably more species of mushrooms in the world than there are plants. They have a really important role that they play in our ecosystem to break down forests that are dying forests. They help with growing and nutrition for our soil. They are often forgotten as they just do their business in the wild, but they play a really important role. I came to mushrooms very late, maybe only about 6 months ago, so I'm still learning a lot about them myself. I am a former restaurant owner. I had two healthy fast casual restaurants that I owned and operated that I lost during COVID, but became very passionate about healthy eating and healthy living. I was able to help people in the community to get their diabetes under control, to get their weight under control, to get their heart conditions under control, and have maintained that passion. And as I was looking for new business opportunities over the last few years, I have been trying to figure out how to return to that healthy eating and healthy living, explored a lot of the vertical farming and the hydroponic farming that has been done, but couldn't quite figure out a business model that made that work. But maybe 6, 8 months ago, I met a couple at a vertical farm conference who were growing button mushrooms and oyster mushrooms in Georgia, and learned about their business and about their process, and fell in love with mushrooms at that point. It's a product that is relatively easy to organize in a small amount of space. And so initially we're able to develop mushrooms and practice producing as a new producer without a lot of the large investment and a lot of land and a lot of other equipment. But at the same time, they are sensitive enough where you have to grow them right. You can't cheat. You can't take corners when growing mushrooms, because you need to make sure that these fungi grow, but that all the other bacteria and things that would grow with them are at bay so they can do their work. So I've fallen in love. We've started developing a small set of strains at this point, but really hope to grow and to both produce different kinds of mushrooms and amaze the community with high quality products, and teach about the important role that mushrooms and their mycelium that create the mushrooms contribute to our world, and are quickly becoming an important part of production and business. You can make mushroom bacon, you can make mushroom leather, you can make mushroom packaging materials. Mushrooms and mycelium are going to play a more important role in our future as resources become more scarce, as people need alternative food sources. And so it's just a lot of fun to be a part of this growing movement.
Definitely. And no pun intended with the growing movement, right?
That's right. That's right. I think you're 3 for 3 today.
Yes, yeah, we love it. So I'll say this, it is an incredibly popular field. It is gaining traction, and I think it's really interesting to see some of the science and to see some of the people breaking it down and learning more every day. Could you tell us a little bit about, you said you had a couple strains. Could you tell us a little bit about maybe each one of those strains and why we might want to start incorporating it into our food and into our drinks?
Sure. I'm learning a lot about mushrooms myself. So if we were to talk again in 6 months' time, I would be able to tell you a lot more. But at this point, we're growing about 4 or 5 different strains, half of which are edible mushrooms, gourmet mushrooms. We have the mushrooms on your desk right now, which are black pearl king oyster mushrooms and pink mushrooms. Those were the first 2 edible mushrooms that I tried out and that we've been growing. We're also growing a variety of other oyster mushrooms, blue oysters, gold oyster mushrooms, and then a variety of medicinal mushrooms as well. So we have started out with turkey tail mushrooms. We're attempting reishi mushrooms, cordyceps. We will have others in the future. And the neat thing about mushrooms is that once you learn how to grow one strain, for all intents and purposes, it's relatively easy to be able to bring in other strains. So if there are restaurants or chefs or connoisseurs who want to grow a new set of mushrooms, we would be able to produce that in a relatively short period of time. Each mushroom has its own characteristics. Each mushroom has its own look and feel and its own flavor profile. The mushrooms that are on your desk are wonderful in salads, just as fresh mushrooms, but can also be sautéed or brought into other foods as well. The pink mushrooms taste a lot like chicken, which is very interesting. And the black pearl king oyster mushrooms that I'm still dialing in how to grow them, but the ones I've grown so far, some of them have very thick bases that you can actually cut into the form of patties, and can be a supplement to or a replacement for hamburger patties.
Wow.
But they can also be just used in a variety of different cooked foods as well.
That's excellent. And I think 2025 is teaching us one thing in Garrett County is that there is a desire for a diverse flavor profile out there. Some of the new restaurants that have come into the area and existing restaurants have kind of, they're working new things into their menu. So it's really cool we have you here to kind of add newer, fresher ingredients right here in the community and just start getting it out there so we can start experimenting, so it's not just the same old song and dance. We finally get something that I think is invigorating and really cool, I think for all of us.
I started delivering samples to a few restaurants for the first time just a few days ago. And it was exciting to hear the kitchen managers get very excited about the possibilities of mushrooms. It made me a little nervous because we're still so early in the process that we don't have everything dialed in, and we'll probably need another month or so to be able to produce on a regular cycle with consistent mushrooms. But they were very excited about mushrooms incorporated into their pasta dishes, incorporated as alternatives to meat. One restaurant manager wanted to use our lion's mane mushrooms that we're also planning to grow as alternatives to crab cakes.
Wow.
So there is a lot of interest, and so
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I balance the expectations with the reality of what we're able to do. But what's interesting too is that most people's experiences with mushrooms is largely limited to the button mushrooms that we get in the grocery stores and that we've all known for eternity. Those mushrooms, 90% of those mushrooms are grown in one place in the country, and that's in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, where there are these huge mushroom farms, and that's what is easy to transport, easy to be able to bring into a lot of different kinds of foods. And so that's why those kinds of mushrooms have been so common in most of our experiences. But if you work with local growers, you can have those mushrooms that may be a little bit more fragile, but are a lot more fun to be able to experiment with and try things over time.
Yeah. What a unique resource our restaurants are going to be able to take advantage of moving forward.
Well, we're excited to be here. We've learned a lot already from Backbone Farm, which has been inoculating logs with shiitake mushrooms over time. They have their annual event in April where they bring in community members to help with that. And so we know that there is already a tradition of mushrooms here in the county with classes and the mycology related to that. But we look forward to being a contributor and hoping to grow the market over time so that everybody can win from this unique and amazing resource.
Certainly. I think you guys are going to be a great addition. One thing I'll contend, and I've said it several times on this podcast, I'll contend with the rest of the state. I think we have the best business community here in Garrett County, hands down. Even amongst competitors, you find friends. So I think it's a very supportive atmosphere, and I think you're going to find a lot of, again, we keep coming back to growth, but you're going to find a lot of growth here in this community. And speaking of Garrett County, so what kind of helped you? This is a unique perspective we haven't gone over before. So as a new business owner coming into our community, why Garrett County?
Well, Garrett County is the place that is 10 degrees cooler from where we have our full-time home, and so has always been a very nice place to go that's just a few hours away. You climb that hill from Cumberland up to Garrett County and you lose 10 degrees. And so in the summertime, it's more refreshing to be here. In the wintertime, it makes it easier to enjoy winter sports. The best rivers in the world to be able to kayak are within a radius of Garrett County that are amazing. The hiking opportunities, the recreational activities. I was able to be a raft guide at ASCII last summer, so you have that amazing river on top of a mountain that's pretty unique for the country. You have just an amazing group of people. The growers who I have met, from traditional farmers, the Amish and Mennonite farmers in the community. I've been to the auction in spring, Pennsylvania, which is just incredible just to see that culture. And what's really neat too is that as a mushroom grower, I can bring in a lot of used resources to be able to grow the mushrooms, a lot of waste products. So I've developed a really nice partnership with Espresso Alley and the owner Allison there, where I'm able to use those used coffee grounds as food for the mushrooms.
Awesome.
I've developed a relationship with Wood Products Inc. Here in Oakland, and Brian, who we've been testing out some of the wood shavings that are byproducts of the milling that they do to see if that could also be a good growing environment for the mushrooms. So I've started working with folks on bringing additional resources to the growing process, but also the amazing community of farmers market owners and operators and all the vendors. This was my first opportunity to participate in the Mountain Fresh market last weekend. Very, very cold, but very warm hearts that welcomed me in and met a lot of the other vendors who work there and the market manager, the agricultural extension work that Willie Lance does here in the county, and the agricultural business work that Melissa Bolliard does. Just people have been so welcoming. I've already been the recipient of very generous agricultural grants to be able to improve my growing processes and market services. I really want to make sure that we not only produce and sell the highest quality mushrooms, but that we are also an educator about mushrooms to the communities. I find that a lot of people have a lot of questions about how mushrooms are grown, how we use them, and so I want to be able to bring the same enthusiasm and excitement that I experience with mushrooms to the larger community as well. I participate as part of the Appalachian Bee Club, and I've learned a lot from those beekeepers, and am apprenticing with a number of seasoned beekeepers to learn about honeybees and honey in the county. There are just a lot of people who have been very, very welcoming
Awesome.
to us as residents and as new business owners.
That's fantastic, and thank you so much for saying so. I'm going to take that and put it on a shirt or a mug, and we're going to start putting that out there.
Deal.
No, Cory, that is fantastic, and I'm so glad you've been able to integrate quite well into the community. You've got an exciting product, and it sounds like maybe there's some opportunities for you to help educate the community in an outreach capacity.
One of the things that I did with my restaurants is to go into the community and do presentations on healthy eating and healthy living. And I would love to be able to do that as part of our work here, both bring those educational resources to the markets where we sell products, to the restaurants that we do business with, to individual homeowners who might want to buy our products directly, but also then go into the schools and work with teachers to develop and to teach about mushrooms and fungi as the third kingdom. Garrett College, Frostburg State. There are a lot of educational resources that we would love to be a part of as well. And we're also learning about the nonprofit community here in Garrett County. One of the things that I did with my former restaurants was to serve as a member of the board for a local agricultural education organization. Okay. And with the Appalachian Farm and Food Alliance here that's just burgeoning, to be a part of that, and the food bank here in Oakland that is growing and will soon be available. We really want to be part of the overall community of people serving low-income residents and promoting food security in the county and education and a variety of outreach activities as well. So we're eager to be involved in any way that we can.
That's spectacular. And of course, thank you for thinking of that in a community. It's great to see this outreach of our local businesses. It's why we support our local businesses, because they then turn around and support us. So that's fantastic. I didn't even have to prompt you for that. You said it. So that's
well. Didn't you before? Didn't you say it? This is from the script, right? Yeah. Right, Connor? Can I do one more? And this was not prompted as please, well, but I was not aware of this podcast until Melissa Bolliard made the connection between us last week. I drove down to Tennessee this weekend for a natural beekeeping class and drove back and had the pleasure of listening to most of the episodes. What an incredible resource that you and this podcast provides to the community, both for the business people who want to get the message out about what they do, but also for the residents who may not be aware of all the incredible services around the county. So thank you for your contribution to growing awareness and growth and development in Garrett County as well.
Well, thank you, Cory. He didn't know that I got paid this week, so check's in the mail. That's the goal and the aim of this podcast, again, to inform our local population about awesome businesses like yours.
You asked about education. One of the things that we would like to do in the long run, and we may not be there yet this season, is to work with other growers, other farmers on education, on courses for tourists and for residents on growing, on how things grow, on what we're growing and why we're growing, on the viability of sustainable natural farming as part of an overall agricultural ecosystem. My next door neighbor, Wildham Farms, is a regenerative pork farmer, and Julie Friend is doing amazing work with her pigs. There we have the creamery in Accident, we have the lavender farm, we have other growers who are doing some really innovative things, and the extent to which we can develop classes and courses and kind of extend the working farms concept that is already a part of the culture here in Garrett County, and offer educational services so that people can learn about how to develop their own house level services, their own house level growing, and other, and just appreciate where their food comes from, and how to make it cleaner, how to make it healthier. I think that that's something that in the long run could be a contribution, and could add to to all of our businesses.
Yeah, you're certainly adding to a significant movement in our community in that direction. I mean, the more sustainable farming practices that are out there, I think the better. It's better for our ecosystem, it's better for our people, and it's really cool that you've been connected so quickly to this community that centers around that prospect and works diligently to achieve that. So it's really cool. It seems like you wasted no time getting yourself out there, and it's fantastic to hear. You were telling us a little bit about your farmers market. When can people go and find you to start buying your product?
Well, we attended our first farmers market last weekend, and I believe that the Mountain Fresh Farmers Market in downtown Oakland is on an every other week cycle here in March, and then every Saturday in April before it goes into the summer season. And we will be full-time vendors at that market. We've been accepted at least for the spring, are applying, and fingers crossed will be accepted for the summer season. We're applying for the Morgantown Wednesday market, and we'll hear about that soon. We're applying to be part of the Deep Creek market, so
Excellent.
we're able to sell that way. We have a website where people can find our contact information and reach out directly if they're personal chefs or they're restaurant managers and they would like our products. I also hope to knock on doors and introduce myself and our products to a lot of the products and the businesses around Garrett County as well. So make it very easy for people to get in touch with us, to be able to get what they want, and for us to then produce and deliver what people need.
So you talked about your contact information. Can we kind of go over what your website is? Maybe if you have social media, contact numbers, emails, etc.
Sure. I am a new person in social media, a new person in website development, but we do have an initial website that we launched a week ago, mightyyough.com. And for people who are not used to spelling Youghagany, it would be mighty, Mighty, Yough, Yough.com. Our Facebook page is Facebook/Mighty Yough, and we hope to develop an Instagram site in the long run as well. Right now, the website is just for informational purposes, but we hope to make that a really easy portal for ordering food in the future. But it just gives a flavor for what we're doing, and hopefully we'll be able to grow that, again, the pun, but we'll be able to grow that site and provide more information about both our products and about mycology, the science of mushrooms in the future.
How interesting and exciting. You know, like I said, you're one of the few people that brought in props today, so the smell of mushrooms has just permeated my office. I'm going to keep these here for a while because, you know, it's good. It's good to smell something fresh in this government office facility, right?
The neat thing about our Facebook page too is that I've been documenting our process of building out and growing our basement farm. So you can see us from the very early stages of getting the spores in shots, in inoculating culture jars and turning those into spawn bags, turning those into production blocks. You can see the mushrooms growing. You can see the different ways that we've organized our sterile lab in our basement to be able to make sure that the mushrooms are protected and are able to grow without contamination. You can also see some of our problems. We had a major problem last week that I was very transparent about on the website. And again, this is all new for me, so my learning curve in growing mushrooms is very steep. But I was so eager to make sure that we were prepared for our first farmers market that I wasn't really thinking as much about the other mushrooms that were still growing in the tent. And I realized on Sunday, when I had a chance to take my breath, that the mushrooms weren't growing very well. The very first flushes that we had of our first mushrooms were beautiful and were huge and were exactly as they were supposed to be. But something had gone wrong, something had slowed down. Well, after thinking about it, talking to people within my growing community and really trying to investigate what happened, I was suffocating the mushrooms. I was so successful in increasing the number of production bags in my grow tent that I wasn't exhausting the CO2 quickly enough for the mushrooms to breathe. And so it was a very quick fix. I just accelerated the exhaustion of the carbon dioxide and increase the flow of oxygen in, and the mushrooms are growing well again. But I want to be very open and transparent about what I'm learning. And so those are the kinds of things that I have also been posting over the last few months on our Facebook page. So you can look back historically and see where we were from the very, very beginning to our products and our services today.
That is spectacular. And it's funny, we spoke about this a little earlier. It is a fascinating process when you actually watch it get done. So it's really cool. You're giving this interactive educational experience to anyone that follows you, that goes to your website to learn more. They're going to be able to see that process in what you're doing to grow these mushrooms. And I'll say from personal experience, having seen some things on TV, having read some things on the internet, it is truly fascinating to watch. So it's kind of cool to talk mushrooms here and there.
On a daily basis, you can see just the changes in the grow bags and how quickly the fruiting mushrooms develop from the mycelium. So very humbling, very impressive, and very exciting.
Absolutely.
I heard from some of your earlier episodes that you also get out quite a bit into the county and visit businesses. So I hope that you will have the opportunity and are most welcome anytime to come by and kind of see the growth and process. And that's a part of what we want to build into our classes in the future when we do classes for tourists and for residents, for them to see the mushroom growing process and to learn about mushrooms and perhaps take part in a mushroom cooking class.
I'm totally down for it. We're gonna put it on the books today before you leave, and tell you what, we'll even go as far as documenting the process. I'll go down, we'll check it, we'll name a bag after the Business B.E.A.R podcast. We'll see where it goes.
Sounds great. I love it. I love it. Oh, the other thing too, Connor, that we would like to be able to produce is what you call grow bags and grow buckets. This is not anything unique to us, but there is a stage in the mushroom growing process that it makes it very easy for any person to grow mushrooms. And so we would like to be able to develop those grow bags and make them available at the farmers markets and in local stores. Wow. And then for people who want to grow slightly larger batches of mushrooms, to be able to sell mushroom buckets at the farmers market as well, that restaurant owners and homeowners who want to grow larger batches of mushrooms can then fruit their mushrooms and then bring their buckets back and trade them out in future markets as well. So the process is super easy. You just have to make a slit in the plastic bag where the mushroom mycelium is ready to grow. And then over a couple of weeks' time, with a misting bottle of water, you can see the mushrooms grow and increase their volume every day as well. So you can experience it directly too. We want to make sure that we have the best possible product to be able to do that. So that's probably still a couple of months away, but that's part of what we want to include in our product portfolio in the long run as well.
And this is so cool. As we have this conversation, this is why I love this format. There's little trinkets here and there that you can pick up. This is awesome. Your services just keep increasing and increasing. So there's more from someone that just wants to eat mushrooms. There's someone that wants to make it a part of their education process, someone that wants to make it a part of something they do. Now we're talking about opportunities for further entrepreneurship within the community, which is fantastic.
Are you ready for one more?
Well, let's hear it.
So a year from now, if we're able to dial it in and make sure our mushrooms are the highest quality, which is our top priority, and to sell the products that we've already discussed, we would like to be able to create products where people can actually grow their own mushrooms in their homes here in Garrett County. It would require a bit more of an investment and a bit more technology, but we could then provide bags at an even earlier stage of the development, and we could bring them to people's homes and have them set up their own growing tents that can be visible, and they could watch from an even earlier stage and be able to produce more mushrooms. But you're probably too young to remember the milkman coming by and delivering milk at your front door and being able to switch out the crafts so that he or she could take the bottles back and deliver new milk. But I could see a situation where we would both teach people to grow their own mushrooms from scratch, or we would be able to set up the infrastructure, a small tent in their homes, and then could be available either if they are owners of short-term rental properties, or they themselves just want to have a talking point and their own growing infrastructure in their homes to be able to deliver that as well. So stay tuned for that.
That's
as
really
an idea
exciting.
That we would like to be able to include in the long run.
Well, what a cool hobby for someone that wanted to kind of take this on, not only just eat it, but share it with the world.
Absolutely.
I might even try. Of course, the only thing I've been able to keep alive is this plant behind me. I do have a plant behind me in my office that I actually inherited when I took this job. I've been able to keep it alive, and that's remarkable.
I'm impressed. I do not have a green thumb, which is why I tried the third kingdom instead of
Yeah.
plants.
So I'm excited with this. It sounds like maybe I might have a hope in this field, but
And I should say the plant is beautiful. I would suggest including it as part of your visuals for the podcast too, to show the
there
plant.
you go.
You've
Okay.
done a beautiful job.
folks, you heard it here first. I do have a beautiful plant behind me. Come see it anytime. But thanks so much, Cory, for sharing everything you have today. Can we go over your contact information, your website, and your social media one more time?
Sure.
For people that are listening today, want to learn more, and of course get engaged with what you have.
Yes, our website is mightyyough.com, mightyyough.com. Our Facebook page is Facebook/Mighty Yough. My email address is cheyman, so CHEYMAN @mightyyough.com. My phone number is included in the materials. If you would like a sample of some of our mushroom products or some of our other treats, our gluten-free or vegan cookies, or our freeze-dried treats, or our spice mixes, I would be happy to bring those by for individuals, for restaurant owners, for store owners, and tell you about some of the things that we're doing. So I'm happy to come to you anywhere in the county and share more about what we do, and also happy to answer any questions online or on a phone call as well over
Awesome.
time. So,
And I didn't want to interrupt while you were giving your contact information, but you have a couple other, like I said, it's so exciting when the business owners bring in props. So I really need to introduce a video element to the podcast, because we have so much fun in person. But you brought some other treats here too, which look really awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about these?
sure. When I was a restaurant owner and had my restaurants in Pennsylvania, and especially during COVID, one of the things I did was to create my own podcast and my own little movement related to home-based businesses. And so I opened a cottage kitchen, which is a mechanism that all states have that allow for the production of food that isn't time and temperature controlled, so has very, very low risk of contamination, and developed a few baked products and spice mixes and those kinds of things. And having a freeze dryer to make our mushroom tinctures also gives the opportunity for freeze-dried candies as well. And the cottage kitchen laws in Maryland allow people to be able to freeze-dry pre-made candy. So I'm not allowed to make my own candy and then freeze-dry that, but I can take pre-made candies, and so we have versions of Skittles and Bit-O-Honey and saltwater taffy and caramel M&Ms that we package and make as freeze-dried candy and sell. We have a series of not only cookies, but of walnut snacks. We have a sweet and we have a savory mushroom snack as well. In the long run, we would like to continue doing these and make it a part of our business, a smaller part of our business, but there's some amazing treats, and we really want to
it's
entice
awesome.
and delight our customers. And so we will have fresh products available at the farmers markets, and as part of our website, you can see on the website. I'll have to get better pictures of some of these up and running, some of the newer products.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's also part of the initial portfolio.
Well, we're going to start the audio component here. I will tell you, visually, these look fantastic. They look delicious. I can't wait to open up some and try them. I'm going to say now, get some. You're not going to want to miss out on this. So they can go and find you at the farmers market. Right now, it's Wednesdays and Saturdays, correct?
Right now, through the spring, it is only on Saturdays.
Okay.
It is March 15th and then March 29th, and the beginning in April, it will be every Saturday in April. I don't know when Wednesdays begin. I believe it's a bit later than that. So right now, you can find us either through our website and through direct outreach, or at the Mountain Fresh Farmers Market in downtown Oakland on this Saturday, March 15th, March 29th, and then every weekend in April.
Well, sir, you are an excellent contribution to Garrett County and the surrounding region. We are happy to have you here, and we are happy to help you grow in your efforts to, again, serve Garrett County, the surrounding region, our community. We're with you, sir.
Thank you.
So again, thank you so much to Cory Heyman, owner and operator of Mighty Yough Farms. Make sure you're visiting www.mightyyough. That's spelled YOUGH. If you're not familiar, that's mightyyough.com. And of course, you can either call him at 301-284-8366, or you can email cheyman, that's CHEYMAN, at mightyyough.com. businessbear.com. Alrighty, folks, thank you again for listening to another riveting episode of the Business B.E.A.R podcast. Be sure you're following us at Garrett County, Maryland, Department of Business Development on our Facebook page, our Instagram, our LinkedIn, and we have a Twitter. That's right, or X, or whatever Elon's calling it these days. Be sure to follow us to keep up on the latest in your business development world, and of course, when new episodes of the Business B.E.A.R podcast drop. Until next time, I'm your host, Connor Norman, and I'll see you on the other side.